Good afternoon. Okay, I've got a new webcam here and I want to share a word of encouragement. But looking at this webcam, is it distorting my face? Sometimes webcams, so maybe this isn't the real me. Okay, a couple things very exciting I want to share with you that I feel like the Lord put in my heart for those of you who are going through trials and tribulations, that you're going through difficult times, whether it's economic, social, physical, whatever it is, financial. And actually it references, I want to reference something that my ex-wife Kim said to me years ago. One time we were driving somewhere, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was some sort of a social event, if I can recall it. And of course, me and her were fairly punctual people, so I'm assuming most likely whatever the reason we were running late is, it was probably something out of controlled traffic or something. I don't remember what it is, but that part's not the relevant part. What's relevant is she said something that was very profound, something that I've thought about oftentimes through the years when I've been running late. Now, this doesn't always apply when you are on a job or something like that, but for the most part it was a profound statement that made a lot of sense, and I believe held a lot of truth. And as we're driving and we're stuck behind cars, and how that is, you're stressed, you got to be somewhere, you hate being late. Me and her hated being late. And she said, isn't it interesting though how time kind of catches up once you arrive at your destination? And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And she said, well, once you get there, even though, you may have been in traffic and you may have been stressed and you may have been worked up, it's almost like time catches up, because once we get to this place, we're going to talk with our friends, we're going to relax, and all of this struggle and stress that we had to get here will not be as relevant, because at that moment, what's going to be relevant is that we are there and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing and we're enjoying what we're supposed to be doing. And so I want to relate that concept to this trial and tribulation by talking about Joseph for a moment. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the story of Joseph, and I want to talk a little bit about Joseph's timeline. But Joseph was the son of Jacob, or who was the man who was renamed Israel, who became the father of the Hebrew or Jewish nation. One of the things that Joseph, if you don't know, I'm sure you know about it. Here's the recap of Joseph's life here. I'll try to be really quick. He was basically favored by his father. His brothers were jealous of him. He had a dream that was prophetic, two dreams that were prophetic about him being a ruler and his own family bowing down to him. He was, because of the jealousy, he was enslaved. The short version of the story is the brothers lied to their father. They said he was dead, but instead he was sold to a caravan of slave traders. He was in Potiphar's house. He was a prisoner. Eventually, he was made overseer or second in command of Egypt. And the thing is, he was 17. Here's the thing now. He was 17 years old when he was sold into Egypt, about the time he had the dream, these two prophetic dreams. And before they were fulfilled, he was 39. So 17 to 39. So 17, he was sold into Egypt. 30, he was made overseer. 39 is when his brothers came, and 41 is when his brothers came a second time, and Jacob comes to Egypt. So basically, you could say from 17 to 41 before the prophetic came to pass, the prophecy came to pass from those prophetic dreams, where his brothers and family bow down to him. Now, that's a long period of time. And when you're 17, that's an even longer period of time. And what I mean is, I had a friend named Jeff Stahl who shared a theory of why, when you're older, time seems to fly by. And it's one of the best theories I've ever heard, and I believe it. When you're 5 years old and you have to wait a year for something, that year or that 12 months is 1/5 of your life. But when you're my age, 47, 1 year is only 1/47th of my life, and so it seems much faster. Great theory. Well, he's 17, so think of all that length of time he had to wait until he was around 41 for the prophecies to be fulfilled, or even from 17 to 30 whenever he was made overseer. This was a difficult time. This was a trial. This was a tribulation. This was an awful time, imprisoned, enslaved, falsely accused by Potiphar's wife. This was a difficult time, but don't you know, in the same way that I was sharing with about how my ex-wife had this theory about once you get there, how you got there is not quite as important. I believe, yes, he grew. Yes, there was trials and tribulations that helped refine him and gave him patience. But the reality is, and of course God used all of those things, the reality is, though, once he arrived, it was worth it. I'm sure that once he was in the moment, that it was worth it. Now, here's a couple of things related to that I want to share with you. One is, if you're going through a trial or a tribulation, it's difficult. Let God mold you. Let God shape you in who He wants you to be. But once you get there, know that it's going to be worth it. No matter how tough it is, you need to count it all joy when you encounter trials and temptations, for the testing of your faith develops patience. And James said you have need of patience so that you're perfect and lacking in nothing. Proverbs says a patient person takes a city. Patience is a great gift. If you have it, you can accomplish many things through patience. And just as my ex-wife gave that example of once you got there, you could enjoy it, and it wasn't quite as important, in the same way, or it didn't really matter as much. In the same way, I'm sure that once he was the overseer, it was worth it to him. It didn't matter that he'd had all those years. He doesn't seem like a person that would have lived in regret or sorrow about the past. Guess what? Many of you in a trial, in a tribulation, you're closer than you think. You're about to go around the corner. Don't give up. It's like a story I heard one time of a person who was climbing a mountain and he thought he had several miles to go to reach the summit, and someone stopped him and said, no, you're closer than you think. And it turned out it was only a few more feet around the corner. In the same way, you're closer than you think, and even if it takes a couple more months, a couple more years, you're closer than you think, and you need to keep on counting it all joy. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be, when you're in that moment, time will catch up and you'll enjoy that moment. So don't give up. It will be worth it. Through faith and patience, we inherit the promises. Not just faith. You got to be patient. See, patience keeps the door open so faith can work its work. You've got to be patient. Too many times we just want to, and I'm in a dark trial myself. It's a hard trial. It's hard to be patient. I want it today. I want it now. But you know what? I'm going to be okay. You're going to be okay. It's going to be worth it. And once you get to your destination, it's not going to matter so much. All of these things. You'll learn from your mistakes. You'll grow. Now, the second part I want to share with you is sometimes we're in a trial and tribulation and we think it's entirely us. That somehow we've screwed up, somehow we're in sin, somehow we're a terrible Christian, or we're not faithful to God, or something, or we've allowed the devil. But you know what? There's no indication that Joseph caused any of this. I know some ministers like to say, well, he was bragging, and he wasn't bragging about those dreams. He was simply sharing what God had shared with him. There's two people in the Old Covenant that, from what I understand, that weren't rebuked by God, Samuel and Joseph. There's nothing that indicates that there was ever any time period that God was not pleased with the heart of Joseph. There was never any time that God rebuked Joseph. I believe at 17 years old, he simply shared what God put in his heart, not realizing the effect it would have on his family. They were already jealous of him. They weren't jealous because of the dreams or because they felt like he was bragging. They were jealous because Jacob showed favor to him over the other brothers. That's why they were jealous, and it just exasperated it or just made it worse. So, you may be going through a trial. It may be your fault. It may be something you did, and you certainly need to ask God to help you to grow in those areas and to learn from these things. But you may simply be in a trial because it's the season, it's the life that we're in. We're in a perishing world. There are the storms of life that come. They're just going to come. And you are going to overcome if you have faith and patience and know that once you arrive in it, all of this will be worth it. And a lot of this won't even matter. You'll look back and not even probably recognize those times because you'll be so full of the presence and the fulfillment of God's word in your life. Well, I hope this encouraged you. I don't want to go any longer for the sake of time. If it's encouraged you, maybe it'll be encouraging to somebody else. So click share here and share it here on Facebook or on YouTube or email it to somebody, and have a great day.